Right, so, first of all, I hope everyone enjoyed the last video that I did, trying to do something a little bit different with the whole, sketch thing. Essentially, I've been seeing a lot of videos by, Man Carrying Thing, and I thought, oh, that's a good idea. I've started doing, book content a little bit, so I thought I would kind of ape off of one of his ideas, or, like, a video that I've seen him do, and do it with the third Mistborn book, because reading that I was like, this first line is heavy. There's a heavy first line. And yeah, it kind of just sets you up for the rest of that book as well. But yeah, I just thought that would be a funny video to put out, just something a little bit different. I thought, I'll finally upload something that is sub 20 minutes long. It's actually only just 1 minute long. But yeah, this video is not going to be nearly as short or concise, because we've already reached the length of time that video was. But essentially what I have done today, we're going to do something that I just have been thinking about and I wanted to do on stream for a while, but I've just been thinking about what games or what game developers do I think should make specific superhero games, or specific games based on superheroes. And I have a list of what I have now realized. Okay, there's two DC options, but it's a list of 10 superhero characters or teams. There's actually there's 3 teams on here. So yeah, it's superhero teams and characters. Most of them are Marvel. There's 2 DC in here. But yeah, what I've done is I've put them all in a number generator. I'm not going to put that in the video, mainly because that's not the point of the video. That's not the reason why I'm doing it. The only reason why I've put them all in this is so that it's more concise for me and I'm not just spitballing. But so we're just going to spin the wheel and we're going to see what it picks for the first one, and then I'm going to pick a and it's not in a random number generator. The game developers that I think would be good for the specific character, whatever it lands on. I'm going to land on a character, and then I'm going to pick a developer that I think would make a good game, or that I would personally pick to make a game on this characters based on their previous output. We're going to see what the wheel wants me to choose first. I'm probably just going to edit this out. Right, it shows a Moon Knight first. I'm going to remove Moon Knight. It shows a Moon Knight first, and my first, I think a lot of people would go to something like something like Insomniac, put it in the Spider-Man universe, and in an ideal world, Insomniac would just get to do whatever superhero game they wanted to. But I think if you give Insomniac Moon Knight, they will just do something very safe and familiar with it. Now, they could make something more heady and introspective and play with the mental health side of Mark Spector's character a lot more, but I think the way that you do a Moon Knight game, and I think the thing that they forgot about in the thing that they forgot about in the show is playing with the weird side of it a lot more, and playing with the heady, the kind of like the mental health side, and the multiple personality disorders side of Moon Knight's character, the Moon Knight show just ended up being basically another generic show, a generic superhero show. So I think when it comes to a Moon Knight game, I think Remedy would do really well. The people behind Alan Wake and Control, Alan Wake, not Alan Wick. Why did I want it? It's because Alan looks like Keanu Reeves a little bit. But yeah, I would give them Moon Knight. I think Insomniac could probably do a good job, but Remedy have proven their track record with Alan Wake that they're ready to go weirder than I think a lot of other video game developers will go. They're almost like the A24 of video game developers, where they're more okay with taking risks and making a weird ass game, and I think that's what Moon Knight needs, is a weird ass game. I think it needs weird out of the box people making a weird out of the box game. So we're gonna see what the wheel chooses next. The wheel has chosen Doctor Strange, and probably the same as Moon Knight. I think Remedy could probably make a pretty good Doctor Strange game. He kind of fits into that weirdness aesthetic as well. I think that Doctor Strange would be really cool if he was done by Platinum. I think Platinum would do a really good job. Like I said, I think Insomniac can do like really cool visual stuff. I even think like Compulsion Games, they just came out with a really cool game called South of Midnight. That game, the visuals in that game look incredible, and I'm not saying it's even remotely similar to how I would want a Doctor Strange game to look. I just think the more unique or like visually interesting games look, or a developer's past catalogue has looked, I think that then would work really well into a video game starring or about Doctor Strange, because he's one of those characters that needs a really visually stunning game. I also think maybe, and I'm not saying this is what I would personally want, but I think Doctor Strange lends himself to being a pretty cool VR game as well. I don't know of many VR developers in the space, and also I thought I should point as well that there is a nod to Doctor Strange in Spider-Man 2. So you do go to the Sanctum Sanctorum, you do interact with the Wand of Watum. So there's Doctor Strange stuff in that. So there's reason to believe that Insomniac could potentially down the line be working on a Doctor Strange game. However, that's not the point of the video. It's not fun to just say, oh, Insomniac should make every game. That's not fun. That takes the fun out of the video. The point of the video is attributing a different company to each game. But yeah, that's who I think would be really good for Doctor Strange. I think either Compulsion, but if it's Compulsion, then it's stuck on an Xbox. And another reason why I thought this would be a cool idea. The first Berserker Kazan came out, and I like the idea of having like a games universe where it's set in the same universe, but each game feels different in a certain way. But yeah, I think Doctor Strange works really well as kind of by Platinum Games, just make it really flashy, just have really flashy combat. I did say in a previous video years ago that I thought Green Lantern would do really well done by Platinum, but I don't necessarily think that now, and I kind of have a better idea as to what I think a Green Lantern game who I think a Green Lantern game should be made by. So we're going to spin the wheel again and see what comes up next. But just to clarify what I said about Doctor Strange, Doctor Strange will be done by Platinum Games, in my opinion. I think Platinum Games will do Doctor Strange pretty well. Next one, Fantastic Four. Yeah, again, I think Insomniac would do pretty good with this, but that's not my choice. I do have someone on this list that I think Insomniac would do well with. However, I think, me personally, Fantastic Four game should be done by Hazelight. Hazelight Studios doing a Fantastic Four game would be insane. Instead of just 2-player co-op, the ability to go 4-player with a Hazelight game. I know that kind of takes up screen real estate. However, I can't think of a better studio or a better way to do a Fantastic Four game outside of the way that the Guardians of the Galaxy game did. However, that game didn't do very well sales-wise, unfortunately, because it's a fantastic game. But in my opinion, I think the only way to do a Fantastic Four game is to have all 4 characters playable at the same time. I think that's the only way you can do it without it feeling samey or cheap, or without having some kind of magic lost there somewhere down the line. Like something's going to be missing if you can't play as the whole team at the same time. And also, I don't want it to just be a thing of you can only play as Reed and you can tell the rest of the team what to do. That I don't like that aspect either. I'm sorry. I think with the Fantastic Four movie coming out, they're back in the cultural zeitgeist. So I think it's the right time to start thinking about a Fantastic Four video game. Just like there's a Blade video game being done by Arcane. That's another reason why I wanted to do this video as well. I think a game starring these characters gets more excited. Like, more people were excited about that Blade game, not because it's Blade, but because it's Blade by Arcane, because it makes sense, because he's a character that does the shooty shooty bang bang, and it's a really cool art style and aesthetic that all of their games have had. So it kind of makes sense for Blade to be done in that style, in that way. I really like that idea. I hope it's not stuck on the Xbox. But, you know, beggars can't be choosers. And if it is stuck on the Xbox, it won't be stuck on the Xbox forever. So, yeah, Fantastic Four, done by Hazelight. So you can play as all 4 characters at the same time. I also think Hazelight does really well when it comes to, like, reinventing the wheel of just what is possible in the video game space. And I think with the Fantastic Four and how differently all of their powers work, you can do some really interesting things. So yeah, I think Fantastic Four game done by Hazelight would be really, really cool. It's also a pipe dream of mine, because you need like a fucking cinema screen to be able to like see what you're doing when it's like split 4 ways, or it would negate the couch co-op of it. But yeah, I don't know the logistics of doing that. I just think, wouldn't it be cool if that was a thing that they did? But, you know, that's what this video is all about. It's not about what is going to happen. It's more about what do I think would make sense the most to me, and what do I think would be the coolest thing if it did happen. I'm not going to put any like bets on this. I don't think any of this is realistic, outside of one. I think one of these is realistic, but I don't think any of these are. I don't think any of these are going to happen. But there's a few that I want to happen. So here we go. All of them I want to happen, but there's a few that I want to happen more so than others. The next one we have is the Justice League, and this is also taking away from for just the entire DC universe. What I think would be really cool, and this is just my way to say it out there. NetEase. I know there's been quite a bit of controversy around the way that NetEase have done dirty to not only their American staff, but also the way that they've done the mobile game space. However, I still think Marvel Rivals is really good. I still think that game is like the template for just do that, but with DC characters, and you're printing money. You know, I think that's pretty much the way to go for a Justice League game as a whole. I don't really have a great option for that. It would have to be like a massive RPG. It would have to be like a big, like back in the day, I would have said Raven Software, just because of the Marvel Ultimate Alliance games. I think if they did that again, because the Justice League game that did come out that was like or tried to capture the source that was in Marvel Ultimate Alliance didn't do as well, or didn't do the same things. So, you know, I think it should have been Raven Software that developed that game as well. But maybe the license for DC characters went to a different studio, or Raven couldn't get the license, or didn't want to work in that pool of characters because they didn't think they were as cool as the Marvel bunch. Which at that time I can understand that. But also it was the time that the DC animated universe was massive, so, or was, was fresh in people's minds. So I don't think, I think you're more hard pressed now to find someone who thinks that the DC cast of characters is cooler than a Marvel cast. Marvel has great characters. DC has great characters as well. The way that I see it, it's all just superheroes at the end of the day. So yeah, it's all just people in tights punching each other, or punching. It's just good guys punching bad guys. Occasionally, good guys punching good guys, bad guys punching bad guys. So yeah. Up next, X-Men. And X-Men, I have a bigger pitch for, a more interesting pitch for, and I think this one is possible, depending on how well Midnight Suns did. Because I think you do a backdoor sequel to Midnight Suns, on my Fire Access games, all about the X-Men. You can even create a character or a brand new character. Essentially, you do a remake or a retread or whatever, a retelling of X-Men Legends, where you have a boots on the ground player character who will be like completely who will either be like completely new for the game, like what Midnight Suns did, or will be a relative unknown. So like someone who was brought in during the Krakoa era. I think even the Krakoa era would be a great setting for the game as well, because it opens up. Not only do you have a big like 4-year running storyline that you can just adapt into a game, but also you have you open up the options to playable Mr. Sinister, playable Apocalypse, playable Brotherhood characters that weren't playable in X-Men Legends 2. It opens up the doors to so many options, and I just think doing a game based on something that's fresh in people's minds, that a lot of people really liked as well, and had some really good talent, and brought in new antagonists, and it's not just the same old thing. It's not just, oh, we're going to fight Magneto again, or oh, we're going to fight some Sentinels, and oh, we're going to fight Apocalypse. It's something new, fresh, and exciting, and while it's not something that I necessarily followed or was on the ground floor for, I still am more pro new stories being told and giving some love to new characters as opposed to retreading stuff that is proven to work. But I think one of the greatest things about Marvel Rivals is that it's introducing people to magic, introducing people to Jeff the Landshark. As much as those characters aren't, those characters aren't boots on the ground floor characters. They're not like your Iron Mans or your Spider-Mans. And even with the MCU, introducing people to Ant-Man, introducing people to Kamala Khan, introducing people to War Machine, even back in the day, or introducing people to Black Widow or Hawkeye or Black Panther, putting Black Panther as like a $1 million franchise. I'm just pro new characters or new things getting the spotlight, and that's my big pitch. If there was like a big pitch of, I want this to happen, I want a Fire Access X-Men game, an X-Men game done by Fire Access, based on the Krakoa era of the X-Men, done in the style of Midnight Suns. I would take a sequel to Midnight Suns any day of the week. Make it X-Men characters. Make it all about the X-Men, and I'm in. Make it even like I would say even a Firaxis game on the Justice League, or with DC characters at the helm would be really great. But if it is a new player character, I want the ability to romance people, because I want to go in there and romance Wolverine, which would be the easiest one to romance. I want to go in there and romance freaking everyone. Romance Nightcrawler, romance Storm. I mean, there's some horny people on the internet that want to romance Storm, especially the way she looks in Marvel Rivals. God damn. But yeah, there's even more people that want to romance Emma Frost after Jesus. After that most recent trailer. But yeah, well, I think because A, we're losing natural light, and B, this video's getting long anyway. I'm going to split this into 2 parts. I'm going to film the next part of this some other time. But yeah, that is 5 Marvel or DC 5 superheroes, and what video game developer I would want to work on their games. I will see you guys in the next part of this, where we have 5 more superheroes, what developers, 5 more, giving 5 more superheroes video game developers, or 5 more developers that will work on these superhero games. I don't have a snappy title for this, but anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Hopefully you enjoyed. Peace. I'm sorry I look so creepy.